Hey guys, it's Melissa here from melissaoven.com. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness, the weekly podcast devoted to all things spirituality and self improvement. I am so delighted you're here with me today. Today, we're going to be talking about finances and how sometimes we unknowingly have these financial blocks. And what can you do in order to move forward? This has been a big lesson for me in my life. I know that I was born, if you follow me for any amount of time at all, you've heard this story, but I was raised by a single mom who, and not that my dad didn't pay child support or didn't contribute, he did, of course, but there was always worry surrounding money. And my mom would always loudly talk about how stressed out she was about not having enough money. And as a kid, you don't really know how to process that or how to take that, or we pick up on what we know. And so you hear these things, and so you take them on as, oh, life is a struggle, finances are difficult, we don't have enough, those kinds of things. And you don't really think about it, right? You're just picking up on what people are saying around you. And as a single mom myself, I did the same thing unknowingly. Like I would gripe about money, which kids should never even hear us talk about that because it should not be a concern of theirs. But how many times do we do that? We would go to the store and I would say to my kids, no, we can't afford that. Or, it's okay to tell your kids no. But we're inadvertently putting these blocks on them and telling them, okay, we don't have enough. And this is so normal. I don't know anyone who doesn't really do this, right? We don't think about it. We just openly complain about how expensive everything is, especially now. People are griping about the price of gas, which is crazy expensive. And when we're voicing this concern and this frustration and anger and all the things, there are two things happening. Number one, when you complain and you're in fear, for one thing. But this is a very negative vibration. And I don't know if any of you have ever seen the chart. There's a visualization. It's a chart. It looks like an upside down triangle. And it talks about vibration and your vibration, your frequency. Okay, we're all made up of energy. That's just science, right? We just are. And our energy vibrates at certain speeds. And when you are upset or you are complaining, your vibration is operating at a lower speed. And so you're like at the bottom of that vibrational frequency chart. And when you are in gratitude and you're having fun and you're laughing and you're smiling, then your vibration is up at the top of that chart. Why does that matter? For several reasons. Number one, when you're in that space of complaining and being fearful and all of that, it doesn't feel very good, right? That's not a fun place to be. I don't know how many people enjoy complaining. I mean, I feel like there are some people who maybe do because it seems like they have an Olympic sport for it. And those people immediately you see them coming, you're like, I want to go the other way because, they're just going to unload on you and you're going to have to listen to them complain about everything in their life. But you know how you feel when you walk away from those people, right? It's so draining. Your energy is drained, you're tired, your mood just completely shifts because those people tend to shift the mood around them because those are energy vampires, right? They just suck the life out of you. And so we don't want to be around that. It doesn't feel good, number one. The second thing is that when you're in that very low vibrational state, it is really hard to manifest what you want. And oftentimes we end up manifesting the opposite of what we want because instead of talking about how abundant we are, we've just been complaining about how it's so hard for us to find money and we just can't do it and we don't have it. And the universe always matches our energy and the universe always says yes to us, right? Like, I don't have money. Okay, yes, you don't. That's not what we want. We want to feel abundant. We want to feel safe. We want to feel all of these emotions. And I know some of you are out there thinking to yourself, But how can I feel that way when I don't see it in my physical reality? And I understand that. I really do. I I don't know how to explain it other than to talk about my own experience. But as a single mom, it was frustrating. And when I first got divorced, year after, my ex-husband didn't have a job, so he didn't pay child support. And so I had just gone back to school and I was doing my student teaching at the time, and you don't get paid to do that, right? I had taken out loans to try to stay afloat with having kids and doing this student teaching, which I wasn't going to be able to work during the day at least. And I didn't want to kill myself, working at night, working all day. And I know my mom did that when she did her student teaching. And I saw how hard it was on her. I didn't want that for myself. I didn't want to start off that way. So I just took out a little bit of extra student loan money so that I didn't have to work at night. But I knew I was going to have to pay that back. But I was okay with that. And then I got my job, and then he had to pay child support, but he had like a really low income job. And so the child support was crazy low and never was increased the entire time that, we were married because he always had contracted work. So it was like, well, you'll have to prove what I make, which wouldn't have been possible. So, that wasn't great. And it was difficult. It was difficult to be a single mom and to try to pay for things. And there were several points in my life where I just did nothing but complain. And no matter what happened, I would just keep seeing these things coming in like, why is this happening? And it wasn't until after I went through what I call my spiritual awakening, the second one really, which was in 2018. And following, I started following several people who talked about your vibration and speaking things into existence, which at the time I just thought was crazy. And I was like, what? But I started following Esther and Abraham. Esther Hicks, they channeled Abraham. So they were channelers and they talked all the time about speaking into being and, even if you can't see it in your reality, putting things in your almost like an iCloud, right? Putting things in your vortex. And it was like, what's this vortex? What is this? What are they talking about? And essentially, they were just talking about putting all of these things in this vortex, which is a space where you put all of your intentions, right? Where you want to manifest. What is it that you want to see? What do you want your life to look like? And so, if you're an Amazon person, which I'm trying to shop less from, it's like having a wish list, right? You put it together and this is what I want. And this is what I want my life to look like. And then what I want it to be like and what I want it to feel like. And I didn't necessarily trust it, but I did it anyway because I thought, no, can't hurt. Well, I'm going to waste this time. And so I would write down what I wanted. I made a Pinterest vision board, right? This is what I want. This is what's going to happen. This is what my life's going to look like. And I just sort of trusted and let it go. I did my mantras and I believed. But what I also tried to do was to speak less out loud, think less of the ways in which I was disappointed in life, the ways in which I didn't see things happening. And that was a struggle because it's easy to complain. It makes you feel better in the moment to get it out and to complain. And of course, you're going to have those moments. But I started to realize, oh my gosh, that's not doing anything positive for me. And at the moment that I catch that and say to myself, okay, that isn't how your life is. Wonderful things are always happening to you. Money is always finding you. You're always abundant. You always have more than enough. And when I tell you that things shifted, and it wasn't overnight, it was not overnight, but things would start to slowly shift. And crazy things would happen and still happen to me when it comes to finances that I just don't understand sometimes. For example, when I was that struggling mom, I, had done my intentions, set them, put them in my vortex, and did all the things and tried to work on my vibration. And then I let it go. And then I received a check in the mail for a class action lawsuit that I didn't know I was a part of for these silly little shoes and if you're following me for a long time, you've heard this story, but they were called Stoppies and my niece wanted them. And so of course I was going to get my niece anything she wanted because she was, she fell right out of my eye and we were so close when she was little. I bought these shoes. Apparently they sold our data. I didn't know it. And I got the check for like $250. Just no small chunk of change, right? But it was a pretty nice thing for me. And things like that still happen. Just a couple of weeks ago, I got a check for when I bought my car over a year ago for an overpayment. And it was almost $400. Was not expecting that. Just a lot of different things happen that are unexpected. I, get offered to do a job that takes a little extra time but pays more money. Just different things here and there. And I'm always grateful and thankful. And I especially take the time to be thankful for those things that show up, even if it's like a quarter or $1 extra, just being thankful and showing the gratitude for that has completely shifted my life. And it's also happened in major ways too. When I came to the job that I currently have, I had to take a pay cut. It was a big pay cut. And everyone said, oh, you'll make it up because you don't have to drive so far and you'll save it in gas and on your wear and tear of your car and all those things, right? All those things that you're not really going to visibly see right away. But then they changed the policy in the district and they had to go back and repay, like put me where I should have been. And it was crazy the way that it happened. And when I tell you that all those unexpected things, you couldn't have said to me, oh, that's going to happen to you. I would not have predicted that. And I'm in a much different place now than I was back then, like completely different. But the way that I think and feel about money has changed too. And it's really just energy. So if you're out there and you don't have to work hard for it, I know that's a myth we've been given, like, oh, it's hard to come by. It's not. And even the people who have a lot of it will tell you that. And they'll say that's the easiest thing to do is to make money. It's harder to make time and to do all these other things. But that's the thing that many of us struggle with because it's what's in our face the most and what we see. And we're all struggling with it. When I tell you, if you shift your thinking about it, it shifts. I'm not lying to you. So I wanted to pull some cards and to give you some ways that you can start to shift that so that hopefully you start to see that shift in your everyday life. What I think that struggle with money really comes down to is what everything comes down to. If it's a struggle with love, with money, it all comes down to your struggle with your own self-worth. Because if you truly believed that you were born worthy and that you were deeply loved by the universe and that the universe wanted the best for you always, you wouldn't have issues with money or love or any of those things because it would never be a question. You just think to yourself, oh, I know the universe wants me to be abundant, obviously. And I just think about my own children. I want the world for them. I really do. And if I could wrap up the entire world and just hand it to them and say, this is for you, I would. And we know that most parents would. And if you thought about the universe as wanting that for you and being that parent, and even if you didn't have a parent who wanted that for you, the universe does, like, wants us to be so abundant. But the problem is we don't allow ourselves to feel that way. It is a feeling first that happens, and then the physical manifests from that feeling. So you have to work on how you feel about yourself. So for some of you, this abundance stuff comes down to self-love and working on that first and realizing that it doesn't matter what mistakes you've made in life. I don't know a perfect person, and we've all made mistakes and we've all done stupid things. And financially, we've all done really stupid things. I will never forget the first time I got an oil change. My mom sends this dumb little 16-year-old kid off to get her first oil change. Doesn't tell me anything. And I mean, they charged me like $100 to get an oil change on a crappy car that probably was worth like $500, right? And I spent this money and I came back and my mom was like, "What in the world did you do? Why did you let them talk you into of course you had to get the air filter, right? And then we had to charge you for if there's so many things. I don't even know what they charged me for. I came back and I've always ever since then hated going to a mechanic, but now I educate myself before I go and I know not to be talked into things, but I felt so stupid. And how would I have known if no one taught me she didn't say, go get your oil change and it's going to cost you $20 and that should be all you spend. Nobody said that. So I didn't know what to expect. And for most of us, no one says life is going to be this, it's going to be X, Y, Z, and you need to expect. We don't know. You don't know till you know. And so you make mistakes. You should not beat yourself up for that, for not knowing something that you didn't know. Now you know. When you know better, then you do better than if you keep doing the same thing, that's one thing. But once you learn from it, let it go and say, well, that taught me. And now I know how not to do things, but what am I going to do? How am I going to show up? How am I going to see the world? So I want to, again, pull some messages for you. And what I pulled first was from The Money and the Law of Attraction. And this is by Esther and Jerry Hicks. And again, they're the ones who channel Abraham. So I like following them. And I also like following Louise Hay. She's since passed away, but I feel like she always had some really great advice how when things go wrong, she would always say to herself, all is well, all is well. And maybe that's all you say to yourself when something financial comes up. You just say, all is well, because it is. And so the first card that came out is I'm always receiving the essence of what I'm giving. If we're talking to you on the first day here on Earth, we would say, welcome to planet Earth. There's nothing that you cannot be or do or have. And your work here, your lifetime career, is just to seek joy. As you think thoughts that feel good to you, you will be in harmony with who you really are. And in doing so, you will realize your profound freedom. Seek joy first, and all of the growth that you will ever imagine will come joyously and abundantly to you. So I love that. Your only job is to seek joy, and everything else is going to be in alignment. And it says, I do not need to have money to attract money. And that's true because I didn't have it when I attracted it. You do not need to have money to attract money, but you cannot feel poor and attract money. The key is you have to find ways of improving the way you feel from right where you stand before things can begin to change. By softening your attention to the things that are going wrong, and by beginning to tell stories that lean more in the direction of what you want, instead of in the direction of what is currently happening, your vibration will shift, your point of attraction will shift, and you will get different results. And it's true, and I would never have believed it, but it is so true. And I love how she says, or they say, just softening. Because of course, in the beginning, you're going to pay attention to the money you lack, but soften your attention to it. Start to notice when you pay attention to that, shift your thinking. Instead of, I don't have, I have so much abundance. I have so many things to be grateful for, because you do. Even if it's not money right now, what do you have? You have a roof over your head. You have food. You have people who love you. You have a job. You have this, you have that. Keep telling yourself that. Excuse me. I have control over the thoughts I think. Since you have control over what thoughts you offer, what could be more just than the powerful law of attraction responding equally to everyone who offers a vibration? Once you gain control over the thoughts you think, your sense of injustice will subside and will be replaced with the exuberance for life and the zest to create what you were born with. Let everything in the universe be an example to you of the way the laws of the universe work. Exactly. If others have it, you can too. And maybe instead of feeling jealous or envious of others, because that also often trips us up, is feel excitement that if they have it, I can have it, and I can have anything I want. And thinking about that instead and the life that you want and are meant to have, because it is meant for you. Okay, it is. I pulled some manifestation, some affirmation cards, and we have prosperity. It says, I have prosperity in all areas of my life. Prosperity is being grateful for what you have while striving for what you want. It's finding joy in the journey, appreciating the blessings, and living a life that is rich in meaning, purpose, and fulfillment. Prosperity is not just achieving success, it's about maintaining success. It's cultivating the habits and mindset that will help you continue to grow and thrive. What is one good habit you could start to develop, and what would serve you well? And one good habit you could develop is being present and mindful and noticing when you start complaining about things and going, oops, zip it, nope, and shifting those words. And instead, what do I have? If nothing else, stop, take a breath, and then just show gratitude for what you have. Because when you show that you're grateful and thankful for what you already have, the universe says, oh, they love that. Let's give them more of that. They want more of that. Like yesterday, it was such a beautiful day. The sun was shining. And I just sat outside and just said, thank you for this day, this weather, this beauty, the nature, the flowers, just having the time to sit outside and to enjoy this. Because when you do that, more comes to you. And we have wealth. I allow myself to accept wealth. Some of us have a problem receiving. We want all of this, and we say we want all of this. And then when someone comes in and tries to help us, we're like, nope, 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 don't do that. You have to be able to receive. Be open to receive. Okay. You're probably a wonderful giver. Are you a good receiver? Be a receiver. Okay. Maybe that's what you need to work on. It says money is an energy and an exchange for services. How much I have depends on what I believe I deserve. Money can be seen as a reflection of the energy we put into our work and the value we create for others. When we receive money, we are being compensated for the value we provide to others through our work. Do you believe you deserve more financial success? And what steps can you take to make it happen? But also, sometimes you don't have to do anything to receive that. It just comes to you. Be open to that. Be a good receiver, and you have purpose. I'm living in alignment with my purpose. We all have a purpose in life, even if we have not identified it. Your calling may be helping others and or yourself in one or more areas of personal fulfillment. Building meaningful relationships, contribution and service, fostering spiritual or religious beliefs, or self-discovery and growth. What brings you a feeling of purpose? And people often confuse purpose with your career. It doesn't have to be. It can be. But for many of us, our purpose isn't what we do in our job every day. It's what brings us joy and fulfillment and happiness. And sometimes that is in volunteering and the work we do there. Sometimes it's just in being there for friends and family. Your purpose is unique and different, and it's, unique to you, but it's what you feel you were here to do. And so many of us have so many different callings. The last two cards I pulled from Angela Rose's deck, and the first one is about your inner child. And that's what's really, I think, the heart of this being abundant and money coming in. So many of us need to work on that inner child healing and giving our inner child what we didn't get. And so sometimes being abundant starts with being kind to yourself and giving to yourself. I used to always feel like, well, I can't spend money on that, because my mom would, just tease me and be like, oh, you have champagne taste on a beer budget, trying to tell me that I wanted too many things in life. And I understand why she would say that. And she wasn't being mean about it, just joking. But I sometimes in the back of my mind would say, well, I shouldn't buy that for myself. I don't need that. Sometimes you should just buy it because you should just buy it. Don't worry about it. If you want it, buy it, and then be thankful that you could buy it and enjoy it and receive it and be open to that, because then the universe is signaled like, oh, she likes nice things. He likes nice things. I'm going to bring more of that. But what does your inner child need? Do I need safety, security, comfort, or validation to be seen or heard? Honor your inner child's needs by asking her what she needs. Does she need to play, dance, rest? Ask yourself what is the most loving thing you need right now, and how can you give this to yourself? And the mantra that goes with this card is I have a right to feel how I feel. My needs matter. I matter. And you do, you matter. Also, you have fun, which I think is, there's two cards coming out about that. Your mission and purpose in life is to seek joy and to have fun. When you start doing more of that, you're going to be amazed at how life takes shape. It says, stop taking life so seriously. So true. If you're not having fun, you're missing the point. Remember a time when you were younger and felt wild and free? What were you doing, wearing, or expressing? Have fun and play today. Seriously, do something fun and silly. When I play, I open my heart to the feeling of freedom. Go play, go do something fun because you are not your role. It says, become your soul, not your role. Who are you at your core? You're not the role you play in life or the many hats you wear. You are so much more than that. You know how many times I didn't do something because I thought, well, what would people expect me to do? What would they want me to do? And I just have come to the point of not caring anymore. I don't give a you know what anymore. I was not the type of person who would have had tattoos. You know, when I was younger, it was be like, she has tattoos? No way. I love them and they're a part of me. And there's something I did because I wanted to. What's something that you've always wanted to do, but maybe you thought people would think you were weird or whatever for doing it? Just do it. This is what life is about. It's about experiencing everything and having fun and seeking joy. You're not the role you play in life with the many hats you wear. You are much more than that. Journal who you think you are at your core. What do you value and what matters most to you? And the mantra that goes with this card is I am a divine soul. You are and so deeply loved by the universe, by everyone. Remember that. And then you have take the leap. Don't wait a second longer to do the thing or take the action on your dream. You're ready now. There will never be a perfect time. Create your own time. Jump in and take the big, scary leap. Create the time now to do what you've been calling or what's been calling you. Get out your calendar and actually schedule this in. You can do it. And the mantra that goes with this card is I was made for this. I am ready now. If you wait till you're ready, you're going to die waiting. There's never a perfect time. Just take one step. You don't have to, you don't have to eat the elephant in one bite, right? One bite at a time, one stair at a time. You look at the whole staircase and see the top, you're going to be overwhelmed. When you do it one step at a time, it's manageable, it's easy. Don't be afraid or do it afraid. That always, I still get afraid. I do it anyway. You're your own inspiration. We can forget in our own power and look outside of ourselves for validation and inspiration. We forget that we ourselves are inspiring. You don't need another class, certificate, or another validation. Be your own inspiration today. Journal one thing you are proud of yourself for and say to yourself, I'm amazing. I inspire me. I am wise. I am knowing. And we have a few things that might be signs for you. There's flowers, sunflowers and roses. Those might be a sign for you. And then butterflies. Of course, I love butterflies and they're all about transformation. And those are a sign too. Your life can be incredibly different 6 months from now if you just start today doing one thing at a time, shifting your thinking, paying attention to what you're saying to yourself and how you're thinking and how you think about yourself, trying to shift that one thing each and every day. Mantras are great to help with that. I love guided meditations too. Those are great. Tappings, EFT tappings are great. I love those. Whatever you do, incorporate one or two little things into your life, and it can be easy. Sometimes during my lunch shift, I have a list of mantras that's on a Google Doc. And I open up that Google Doc while I'm eating my lunch and I say those mantras to myself. And I just take a moment and I just breathe in and I feel it and then offer gratitude for it. And I do believe that those work And then it helps and it shifts the energy, it shifts the vibration. And then in turn, that has to shift first. And then your reality, you can start to see it in the 3D, right? You have to shift the 5D. You have to shift your thinking, your vibration, all the things. And then that translates into shifting your reality and what we see in the everyday. And the more thankful and grateful you are for those things and express that, the more you see of it. So you're incredibly abundant. The universe has already put that in your vortex. You just have to claim it. And I hope that you guys start to see that in your own life. I'm sending you guys so much love and light. If you want to work with me, I do coaching. I also do card readings. I do hour sessions for both. And I do Reiki. So you can reach out to me on my website. It's in the link to in the show notes. And you can purchase on my website. You can also just email me if you'd like to talk to me about what you think you might need or want to schedule. And then I will schedule you personally and we'll find a time that works for you. Also, you can purchase my books. I have online courses, all of those things that help you out. Go check that out on my website, melissaoten.com. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I am sending you so much love and light. You are so loved and abundant. Don't forget who you are. Shine your beautiful lights. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.